So today's guest you saw is none other than Steve. Now, a lot of you on this channel probably already know who he is. He is from the Everything HVACR YouTube channel. He really does a lot of everything, and I'm honored to have him here on the show. Let me get him on real quick. Steve, what's up, man?
What's up, man? Happy to be here.
Hey, Brian, I appreciate the super chat there, buddy. Another great Tuesday with two of my favorite dudes. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
So how is it over there? How are you doing in this HVAC world? How's work over there?
Just trying to make it, man. We always busy. The weather's finally cooled down for us. It's finally feeling like September. I think we've had some 80-degree days, but they've been nice and low humidity. So it's been awesome the last few days.
Yeah, man, I'm a little jealous. We still have the 100-degree weather over here that we're dealing with, and I got maintenance that's kicking in already. So
yeah, we're starting to do that maintenance thing, trying to catch up from the summer now. So I think that's what everybody's doing.
yeah, I think ours falls this month, and then like it's every 6 months with that customer. So got to knock out 20 stores, but I'm trying to get I'm waiting for the weather to calm down over here.
You usually calm down about this time, or you take you into October?
Takes an extra month. Yeah, it takes a little longer over here. Once we get into October, especially towards the end, it really starts to feel like fall, winter type of weather. And I heard we're getting a good one this year. So hopefully we have some cold weather and we don't have to suffer out there in the heat, you know?
The weather's been kind of crazy everywhere lately. You never know what it's going to do. So
yeah, that's something that I've been doing more of this year, this past couple of years, is kind of checking up on the weather just in general, overall the nation, because it's been a weird one. It's been a weird year, maybe 2 years, and everybody has like record setting like highs, and the freaking oceans are like super hot too and everything. It's crazy.
yeah, it's been a crazy last few years, but it's one of those things. It's always good to watch the weather, man. I can dodge storms with the best of them because I know I got stuff to do on the roof and I got stuff to do inside. You better schedule it right, or you're gonna be wet.
Yeah, man, that's one thing, because like I like to schedule like that too, because we deal with sometimes we get really crazy rain, you know, hurricane weather, uh, and then there's crazy summers where it's like, you know, heat wave after heat wave. I'm very like, well, I'm fortunate that I work for myself, but even my guys, you know, I'm usually like, you know, just do it early in the morning or whenever it's not hot as hell, right? If you got something on the roof, schedule it first thing in the morning, and then you know, work your way to where you can work inside, you know, towards the end of the day and stuff like that. So we
Yeah,
take that very seriously. Also, is, you know, try to get out of the sun. You got to remember to hydrate. You got to remember to keep covered, whether that's umbrellas or canopies, whatever you guys do. Arm sleeves. I know you picked up some arm sleeves too, so that's a good way to stay covered too. There you go, reliable arm sleeves. Check out
that's a
the
sweet look.
link in the description. Yeah, have you used them?
Well, hell yeah, they're already starting to discolor. I'm gonna need another pair.
Hey man, they're machine washable. You just wash them and they're good as
Oh
new.
yeah, oh I know.
So I
They're good.
I get like you know, they're good to be covered. It's good to cover yourself. I've been a big advocate for the whole arm sleeve thing, because like I've worn arm sleeves, you know, for a long time. I've always tried different brands and stuff, and it really does work to keep that
I
sun off of you. It's crazy.
I didn't used to do that, and then I saw some of them, and I bought the tactical ones first, and I started wearing them. I'm like, it really does. It holds the sweat on there too, so you get a nice
Yeah,
little breeze, and it keeps you cool, a little bit cooler than you would normally be.
yeah, and okay, so that was when you first started using them, then, right? That was pretty recent.
Yeah, I haven't been using them for too damn long.
Because I've been using them forever, and I got my brother, my dad, everybody into them. I'm like, dude, I swear by these things, you know, like any kind of arm sleeve, as long as they're, I mean, they're all pretty good. They're different materials and stuff, but just cover yourself because, like you said, like it keeps the sweat there and it kind of cools you off. I use it as a sweatband and everything. Like I put mine through some heavy wear too, and just like I said, I washed them and they're good as new.
Yeah, it's just with an arm sleeve of any kind, it's going to get torn up. I mean, you got your arms in on stuff all day long. There's just no way around it.
Oh, I know. Somebody asked me about that. I'm like, well, yeah. I mean, we deal with a lot of because I deal with a lot of older equipment, and you snag up on a panel that's like already
Yeah,
worn out or sharp on the edges. I mean, it's bound to happen, but I'd rather it take out the sleeve or my shirt versus my skin. So, and my neck is burnt. Zach, I also use I ordered some, but they were not printed right. Uh, I use neck gaiters a lot too now, so I might get one wet and then put it on to have it around my neck, and that keeps me cool. Keeps my neck out of the sun, and I started using like that HVAC crew hat, the sun hat,
yeah, I've got
and it
one of
has a
those.
little and it
Yeah,
has a little cape, and it makes a big difference.
yeah. I usually keep the cape in. I let the wind blow on my neck. I don't like too much around my neck, but
Well, you
the
don't have that
sleeves in the hat are good.
You don't have that Texas sun on you all day.
No, not all day. We got
Uh,
lucky this season. It hadn't been as bad as it could have been. With
yeah.
honestly, I'm kind of worried for the winter because we had a mild winter last winter too.
How cold does it get over there,
Uh,
or
Cold.
normally?
I
Like
mean,
it snows and everything, right?
yeah. I,
Okay,
I I live in the Ohio Valley, so it's just kind of it's crazy weather sometimes. I mean, it can go from 30 degrees to 80 degrees. We'll have 40, 50-degree temperature swings in 24 hours, and it's just so you've got to watch the weather. And if you're not watching the weather, you're not trying hard enough, and you're just asking for trouble. Just be prepared for it.
yeah, because people always talk about that here in Texas too, but it happens, I think, more extreme in other places like where you're at, because you could see that snow and that cold weather, and then it'll warm up. Here we don't know what snow is. We get that every like once every 5 years, something like that, where it's like real light. It'll come in the morning or overnight, and then it'll melt away as soon as the sun comes out. So we don't know what that is. When we had that freeze a couple of years ago, it was the first time I had worked when it was like 20 degrees outside, and I thought that was crazy. I was like, I don't like this. I don't want to be out here. I want to go back inside. So
Yeah, I
I'm not
mean,
used to that kind of that stuff.
the snow's not too bad. It's the wind will get you, and
Oh
the
yeah.
ice is worse than snow.
Yeah, because we had okay when that happened a couple of years ago, it was a freeze for us. So like that was my main concern. I'm like, I better not fall off this damn roof, slip and fall and my ladder, whatever. But it's really windy here when it is rainy or cold. So that thing like when it got cold that time and it was 20, it was just smacking me in the face. I had to make sure I kept covered, had my beanie roll low and everything, had glasses. So I was like, damn.
The worst part about it is being in and out. If it's that cold, you've got to be all bundled up, and then you go in someplace and you start sweating, and you got to go back out. It's like you got to find a happy medium.
Yeah, because usually around here, that's what happens. Because like uh, we don't get a lot of no heat calls. Obviously, that time we did because it had never been that cold. Usually, people just don't, or they just turn off their ACs because it's usually
Yeah,
in between where it's like not cold enough to turn on the heater. But obviously, that time they did turn them on. Everything here is electric, so we don't have to worry about too much. Uh, but we get a lot of walk-in box calls because they weren't charged properly. They might have like a small leak,
that
and then you
we
you gotta you gotta
yeah
get that winter charge.
we see
Uh,
that every winter. Every time it gets cold, the headmasters start acting up, or you start seeing some of that. We used to do more refrigeration than we do now, but that's always something we warn our guys about. Hey, be be ready if the cold weather's coming. It's got to have enough charge in it to operate.
yeah, and it is what it is because it could have been undercharged. It could have had like some crazy small leak. Those pesky Schrader cores, whatever it may
Everything's got to
be.
leak anymore. They don't make
Uh,
anything that doesn't leak.
no, man. Like we just had our
Got to phase out the
Our
refrigerant because manufacturers can't make something that don't leak.
Yeah, we just had a coil leak here at the house, but it was under warranty. The guy came in and swapped it out for us because he was a friend of the family. I had just moved in here, but I was like, man, that I think they had just replaced that like a few years ago. That's why it was still under warranty. So I was like, damn, like it gave out again. But you know,
I had like this has been about a year or two back, but I had like a 25-ton aluminum micro channel coil that was leaking on a carrier rooftop. And so the crane brings the new one out and we got it all ready. I unpackaged it on the ground because they come in big crates. They package them
yeah.
well. And as soon as I opened it up, I saw a big gash in the coil. I'm like, they sent me a leaking coil to replace the
Oh,
other leaking coil. So I ended up just fixing the damn thing.
yeah. Sometimes we have to do that too because we had an ice machine, and I want to say it was a Scotsman. We were installing it out of town, and we went to start it up, and yeah, it was on startup, like because we were all there. It was you know, we're a small company. We have like 4 guys, so if we can, we all go out there so that we can do any of the lifting or anything like that. Once it's set in place, everybody takes off to their calls. But I was like, yeah, I remember everybody being there. We're doing a startup on an ice machine, putting it in place in the lobby of a restaurant, a fast food chain, and then it was taking a long time to make ice. I'm like, okay, like let's time it. And then we started checking pressures because it wasn't dropping. And I think the guy, one of the guys was calling tech support and stuff because we're like, it's brand new. And then I look at his pressures. I'm like, nah, just top it off real quick because it was like slightly low. I was like, top it off. We have to do a leak search on this damn thing. And I found one, and it was in the condenser coil at the very bottom by the tubing that's there. But one of the U bends just upped in and gave a small leak. So I was like, damn, a new piece of equipment we have to do a repair on.
Uh, they stretch the copper thinner and thinner to try to get every ounce of efficiency out of it, and then it leaks. Things didn't used to leak like this 20, 30 years ago.
No, and I've had really old equipment that I can keep that keeps running, and
Keep on
we
running.
can yeah we can like fix it and get it going for them. And every now and then they'll get a leak because we do a lot of fast food and pizza places. So a lot of the stuff they have in the walk-ins are acidic.
Yeah.
So every now and then there'll be an evaporator that has those leaks on the U bends and stuff. But usually I can patch them and they're good to go. So some of the older equipment, it ain't pretty, but it works good.
Yeah, no, I mean I've got one coming up on some old '90s train units that are still kicking, and they've been cut and torn apart and put back together. It's crazy. There was an old BMS system on it. It used to be an old big box store, so there's just wires everywhere, and it's like, where do you start?
Yeah, man. Ryan, what's Ryan talking about? He got the True Work
True work, true work pants. I've seen
pants,
those.
ribs.
They look nice.
Hughes man over here doing some heavy
Get
heavy
that
advertising.
get that man a sponsorship.
I know. What's up, Ryan? All right, man. So, like I said, I think everybody knows who you are. Even Josh over here. Steve is on the show. Everybody's excited to have you on.
I've been around for a little while now.
Yeah. So, for those that don't know, like, where are you like based out of? What kind of work do you do? If you want to quickly go over that, so we can get. There you go.
I'm in Kentucky. I do commercial, industrial, basically everything. It's right there in the name.
Hence the name. Yeah.
Yeah. It was, one of those things that I'm looking back now, I'm like, I could have made that name a lot cooler, but that's just what came out of my brain at that moment. So,
Hey, but for you, it works. Like, honestly,
it does kind of work. But yeah, I work on everything. I've been in the trade for probably 20 years, 16 of it, the last 16 of it with the same company, and doing commercial industrial stuff. Just trying to learn as I go.
yeah, man. I've seen some of the stuff you work on. And that's kind of the cool thing when I come across everything HVACR video is like, I don't know what I'm gonna get, right? You do a lot of commercial, a lot of you do chillers. I've seen some of your chiller videos. I think you do steam work too. So like, it's always something different.
The steam was an accident, but the maintenance guys were going to blow some crap up, so I had
But
to take it off their hands.
you had to step in.
When you see the low pressure steam at 90 psi, somebody's got to say something, or I don't want to be walking around with these idiots turning valves.
Yeah, you never know because we've been there. I work in hospitals. I got these maintenance guys that are always meddling with stuff. I've heard horror stories. I don't know. Maybe we'll get into that, later in the show. But I've heard horror stories of people blowing up compressors, and these are like maintenance guys for different companies and stuff. And then we go in there, and they're like, "Can you fix it? Like, please, like, you know, they've gone through so many like compressors or parts or whatever it is."
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of. I mean, they're between a rock and a hard place sometimes because their maintenance guys are out there expected to make this work, and it might be for a hospital or a process or whatever it is. It's like we need it back on yesterday. So
Oh yeah.
I mean, when somebody calls with something like that, you got to get there as quickly as possible. And a lot of times the maintenance guys have to get their hands on it. They just need to be smart about it. And I mean, if you don't know what it does, don't mess with it.
Yeah, and that's there's well, I had posted a meme, like a little video on my Instagram, and it was about replacing the capacitor for a ridiculous amount of money, and I had to put in the caption, but nobody reads the captions. I'm like, this is just a joke. I don't do this, right? But I've heard people gave me like their take on it, because there are companies out there that charge 1,000, like I've heard 1,000 to 2,000 changing the capacitor. I'm like, okay, well at that point, that's kind of a whole different thing. Like I understand people have their fixed prices on residential and stuff like that, but like $1,000, $2,000, I mean, I don't defend that at all. But I had some guys in there that were like, oh, what are you talking about? HVAC is not rocket science and this and that. I'm like, well, it may not be that hard, and it may be a little bit forgiving, right? You can technically, yes, you can go replace a cap or whatever it is, a small little part like that. But like if something else goes wrong, or God forbid anything happens to you, like there is some things that you need to know, that you need to learn and kind of understand how this stuff works. And I just thought it was funny because those comments kept pouring in. So
Send those guys over to my channel. It's not rocket science. Come figure this stuff out.
it's not rocket science, but you need to
Most
know.
of it's not. I got a rant coming. I had the short of my rant the other day that I was cussing everything else. I had a moment.
I got to stop myself. I got to think about it sometimes. I'm like, oh, dude, is it really worth it?
Well, I would just happen to be filming, and I had 3. It was one of those hot days, and I was mad already, and it was just dumb stuff. And I'm like, man, it's full videos coming out Thursday. All the shorts, all the shorts I've been throwing at everybody for like a month.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You gotta stay calm. You gotta be the boss, Bob Ross of HVAC.
I went from irate to calm again pretty quick.
Yeah, I get the same way, and I'm like, I just have to take a second, and I'll be fine. We have to deal with a lot at work, with people that want to tell us what our job is, or how to do it. Sometimes, you got to deal with it.
I don't get too much of that anymore. I'm not always a people person. I can rub people the wrong way, and I don't like being talked down to.
Yeah, I used to be more outspoken, or like at least give my little 2 cents on it. But then I had to learn from my dad, just because we run a business. I can't be like that all the time. I'm like, shit, okay, so calm down for a second. You don't want to risk anything, and
you do have to be nice to the customers.
Just try and deal with them. I mean, there's some that you can't do anything about. They're just going to be like that, which I have one going on right now, which it's not horrible, but I have a couple of walk-in freezers, and they wonder why they get like high humidity and um,
Close the
like
damn doors.
yeah, ice forming in there, frost and everything. The coil is icing up. No, the damn doors are they need to be replaced. I told them we need to rebuild these. They're like barely hanging on by a thread, and they're like, no. And the famous words, it was working like that before. I'm like, do you really want me to get into it? Because honestly, they were not this bad last year, right? They've beat on them since then. And then we didn't have this record high heat. When did it start happening? Obviously, in the summer. Like that walk-in box is running constantly now. It didn't act up in the winter because it was working fine. The charge is fine and everything. So now they're like, all right, it's fine. We'll get a second opinion. I'm like, go for it. Like they're
Deuce.
gonna tell you they're gonna tell you the same damn thing. Fix the door first, and then we'll check it.
I mean, here's the beauty of it. You've got to understand your customers, because if you know you have a needy customer or a certain kind of customer, because every customer is different. If you understand what you're walking into, then you can deal with it just fine. It's the ones that you don't know, and you don't know how they're going to react or what they want done
Yeah,
exactly, how they want it done. So building those relationships goes a long way, even
that
with
that's
the
super
hard to deal with customers.
that's super important. That's something that I learned, several years back. That it like finally clicked for me because my dad is like that, right? He's very good with people, very people person. He's like everybody's best friend. The second he meets them, I'm not like that. I'm like, I try to go in there to get some work done, and I'm like, okay, I got to be a people's person now. But I had to learn from him because what threw me off one time was we had a manager at one restaurant, and they owned like a few restaurants. So we wanted the work. It was at a time when we needed it, and the guy was real like he cursed like a sailor. He kind of messed around with you, and I never knew if he was joking or not. But that's how he was. That's how he talked. My dad, I mean, it took him a little bit, but he figured it out, and then he started speaking his lingo and kind of being buddy buddy with him the way he is, and then he built that relationship, and we had a good work relationship there because they gave us a lot of work and stuff. But like at first it just threw me off because I'm like I didn't know that you had to read each manager for like their personality and kind of deal with that and build on that relationship because from location to location, different customer, like they're all different, like you said.
Every one of them, man. I mean, we deal with a lot of maintenance guys, and the maintenance guys are good, and a lot of them are smart. And those are the ones that challenge you more than anything because they've already got an idea of what's going on in their head, and a lot of times they can lead you to the problem, even if they don't exactly know what's going on. I mean, even the customers that don't know anything, if you ask the right questions, you can find out what's going on.
Yeah, man. Well, that's one of my roles, right? Is like go talk to the cook, go talk to whoever's operating that equipment because they're gonna be
They know
upset
it
that it's
better than
not
anybody.
working.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're the ones that use them every day, and you know, like I had the guys from Commercial Kitchen Chronicles on a few episodes back,
Yeah.
and they're like, yeah, because they're the ones that are inconvenienced, the cooks, the whatever it may be, especially like because I do refrigeration. They're going to be upset if those reach-in coolers or those freezers, under-counter freezers, are not working because they got to run out to the walk-in box, back and forth, back and forth. So they're going to be upset. They're going to be like, "No, it stopped working at this point, or it works only at this time," or
And
they'll give you all the details.
that's also a teaching moment too, because we've got to teach our customers. You've got to be sharing this knowledge with your customers because some of them don't know.
Yeah,
You have to explain sometimes that if you leave the doors open, it's not designed to cool everything. You can't just leave the door open or cracked. It's not going to maintain temp if the door's cracked.
yeah, that's another thing. Like I'm trying to tell them that about the walk-in door right now, but go ahead and let them call somebody else to tell them the same thing, and then they're going to charge whatever service fee they
I mean,
have, or
they'll tell them the same thing, and they'll figure it out eventually.
they'll tell them the same thing, and then they'll charge them just to hear it
Yeah.
again. But that's another thing I try to tell people is like, I want to be upset, right? I'm like, I want to tell them close the damn door or whatever it may be, but you got to like let them know how the unit works sometimes, because every now and then you'll get pushback, right? Oh, it was working like that before, we never had an issue. But no, I even started like busting out the manual to give it to them and giving them the page where it says, this needs,
RTFM.
yeah, this needs to be in a certain ambient temperature room too. Like it can't be like over 80, 85. Because we had a kitchen that was like 90. I'm like, dude, this thing's never gonna work. It's an open case cooler and stuff, and it's not gonna work like that. Like you need to fix the AC or whatever was going on with it. So you got to tell them that, and I have a lot of prep coolers, and they want to leave that top side open where all the condiments are.
Yep.
And then, like I said, I look up the manual now, and I show them the page. Should only be open during like heavy busy hours, like if you need it open, but any other time leave it closed. I'm like, it says right here you cannot leave it open on all day.
Yeah, they don't always understand that, but yeah.
You gotta educate them. It goes, they might
And
not
they'll
know.
appreciate that a lot of times in the end. I know a lot
Yeah,
of the maintenance guys do. A lot of the maintenance guys anymore, I'll go to places and I'll catch some of the maintenance guys who will come find me when I'm looking at something and just watch or ask questions or whatever. And I'll tell them to come come to the roof. Let me show you what's happening. And I can you got Measure Quick or the Field Piece app, whatever you're using anymore. You can show them right there all your
yeah,
readings and explain to them what's going on and what's happening. And that goes a long way, and it helps them understand a little more.
yeah. And I have some that don't care, right? They're like, oh, just fix it. So,
That's the
those are,
difference in some customers. Some of them don't want to
yeah,
hear it.
and those are cool, right? All right, let me go do my work. I'll get it going.
Yeah,
But I like to prove, what we found, or what's going on. That way, I take care of it, or at least cover, us as a company. Because like right now, if they're gonna go get a second opinion, I've heard that so many times, and it's like, all right, I already documented what I found. Let them get the second opinion, and it never works out for them. They always end up like, okay, you need to, do whatever you quoted us because it actually was that.
they told us
But
the same thing. Imagine that.
yeah, but I like to have everything to where I can present it to the customer, and show them like this. No, this is what's happening. So if you want to get it done, we can get it done. If not, it's up to you. Or was yeah, Zach? Indirectly, be direct. Just be
I'm
nice about it if you can.
I'm probably too direct most of the time.
Yeah, because you can tell like when I see ice, when the unit was working perfectly the other day, I'm like, I start asking questions. I'm like, did you get a delivery yesterday? Or I'll look around for that bungee that they always leave. And you see these things over and over and over. You kind of have an idea of what these restaurants do, what these hospitals do, and you're like, something's up.
That's the beauty of service. Once you've seen it once, the next time you walk into it, it's like, I know what's going on here. You look like a genius, but it's just because you screwed it up the first time, probably.
Oh yeah. I've learned that so many times. Like when I started, I'm like, okay, don't do that next time.
We'll learn more from mistakes than we do success.
Yeah, it has to be like a mistake or like a really good success where you're like, I will never forget that I finally got that unit working, right? Those are the ones that stand out.
No doubt.
So you do a lot of would you consider it like heavy commercial? Because you've done like chillers and
Some heavy commercial. I float around. I do so much. Uh, I feel like I'm not an expert at any one thing. I just know a whole lot about a little bit of everything. So I do some larger commercial stuff. I don't have too many chillers. There are a few chillers. Um, Most of them just comfort cooling. Nothing real special. We do some smaller process chiller work, but other than that, rooftops, and we have regular split systems and residential split systems in buildings just like everybody does.
yeah. And how did you get into that kind of work? Like I've seen you work on some really big trains, crazy tonnage, and like you said, you've worked on a chillers a few times. Like, how do you get into that kind of side of it? Like, do you learn there on the job at the job that you're currently at, or?
Trial by failure, man. I've learned a lot here. We've done a lot of this work, and I've been taught a lot by some of our older guys who have moved on, unfortunately now. But we've always worked on all kinds of stuff. If they call about it, we'll go out and look at it, and that leads you into a lot of random stuff. A lot of these people don't have anywhere to go, especially when you're talking about some process chillers. I mean, not many guys out there work on them. Uh,
No.
so it's kind of good and bad, but a lot of times they don't have an expert to call. So call me and I figure it out usually, or try my damnedest.
And that, I think I've heard you say that, and I like, I think we have a similar mentality on that. It's like it's all the same. It's kind of all the same, right? It's just different scales, and I tell people there's different safeties and controls, but everything else, you have a compressor, you have coils, you know,
There's
it's all the same.
different bells and whistles, but it's all the same. 90% of what we do, you can do by just master of the obvious. I mean, you can look in a control panel and see that something blew up, or there's a big black mark on something, or whatever. The coil's dirty. You got to have airflow. You got to have water flow. I mean, that's 90% of what we do. Airflow. I mean, everything
Yeah.
is airflow or water flow if you're talking about a chiller, but it's all the same basic stuff. It's not usually the TXV that's failed.
The old TXV, you know. Uh, I actually had to fix one the other day, but it was just the power head. It was not giving me the superheat I needed. I was like, okay, let me just change out the power head because like the valves never give out, and I've had the same thing with even the electronic expansion valves. I've heard the same thing. They never give out. They might get dirty if somebody didn't purge and they were brazing right on it, but you know, it's never something like that, like a valve that completely fails or anything. It's usually
Not
uh,
usually. If the valve fails, that's what everybody blames the valve, but it's usually the oil. Just
oh
like it
yeah,
restricts the orifice if it's a fixed metering device, it's the same thing. It's just been neglected. The condenser gets hot, you overheat the oil, and then you start having restrictions.
and what does that come back to? Is probably a dirty condenser.
Yeah, I mean, it all comes
So
back to that because nothing gets cleaned. Everybody knows that. And hell, we spend all summer just cleaning condensers and changing filters half the time.
yeah, yeah, we're not there for maintenance, but those calls come in and it ends up being a dirty filter or a plugged up condenser, and they don't get done enough as far as maintenance. But yeah, it's all airflow. They're usually a dirty evaporator or condenser,
Or
and
the
then
failed carrier VFD.
or the VFD.
Just throwing that
I've
out there.
I don't know who does anybody. Do you guys fix those or do you just
Hell
bypass them?
no. No, they get bypassed. They
I was
they
like, I don't
always
know.
get they always get the option to replace them, and
Yeah,
if it makes sense for the building, I don't have a problem replacing them. I don't like ABB makes better drives than that, and it shouldn't be in the blower section. If they just put it somewhere different, I think it would be better. Or if guys
yeah.
knew about them, I mean, there's a fan on top of there. You need to keep those things clean too.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's the moisture would be my suspicion was the moisture in that blower section because you're drawing that air through the coil, and that moisture is getting on that drive. They don't last long at all.
There's a lot. I mean, I always see people bypassing them. That's what we've done too. I've yet to see anybody who actually does like replace them and stuff.
Well,
But
they're too damn expensive, and it's just going to fail again. So they've got to come up with a better idea or put it
yeah,
somewhere else. I mean,
yeah,
they're trying to meet efficiency standards, and that's what they did. And that was the easiest thing they could do with the same blower that they've got. They just shoved a drive in there. So they've got this. It's the same carrier unit you've seen for the last 2 decades, and they just threw a VFD in it. Well, here it's high efficient now
oh yeah,
until it
yeah.
dies. It's not efficient at all.
Then yeah, we give the quote too, and they never want it. But yeah, like those fans. Like when I do maintenance, I do if it is working, I do clean out like the little fan. I'll brush around it, whatever I can. But they do get like moldy too. Like it's the moisture and
It's the moisture in that, and they, I mean, they're right next to the evaporator.
yeah.
But
And I had one recently, or like a couple months back that I don't know what happened. I think somebody replaced the blower motor on a carrier, and then they tried or they bypassed the VFD. They're color coded. I don't know how they got this wrong, but they mixed up the wires, and I got there because they had water coming in. I don't know. They had like condensation and stuff inside. They had a lot of like problems with the airflow and stuff, and I'm like, I was just here like a couple months ago because that's one of the ones that we do maintenance for. I was like, what is going on? So obviously they called another company, right? Because this is one of those that just calls whoever. And then it took me a while because I was like, man, this thing was working. Like, what is going on with it? And then I finally opened up the blower motor section. I'm like, let's start, going through the basics. And then I looked and I'm like, hmm. So I checked the rotation and I was like, oh, it's going the wrong way. But I don't know how they got mixed up. Could have been an honest mistake. I don't know what happened, but
I've
uh,
got an even better one coming up. I've got video of one that I found the other day that they the company no longer is at this place, but they tried to bypass it. They bypassed it horribly wrong, and it still blew another fuse. And they were like 3 months, and the customer was waiting on this drive, and then I don't know, it was a whole, well, they got the wrong part or something, and they still had the unit on. So it was just, when I got there, it was cycling on low pressure. It was freezing up, and both compressors were just flooding, running, just running away.
yeah, man. And those people give us a bad name because I've had to deal with that too. And I'm like, I can't defend every HVAC tech or I don't know who's doing this
I
stuff.
don't I don't try to defend them. I go down and tell them, quit calling these idiots. If you want it done, just call us. I mean, if you don't want to pay for us, then call them. But don't call me
Yeah.
in the middle of the night, because I ain't coming to fix their crap then.
Yeah, because like the one there was one that we took over, and the whole thing was evaporator block of ice, compressors block of ice. So I opened up the we're right there in the compressor panel because it was a Linux unit with three compressors, all the wiring there, and I was like, I guess the board's not working because it wasn't lit up. They bypassed the whole board, but they only bypassed the compressor. The blower motor was not running, so that whole thing just it was like snowing inside. Like I was like, I don't know what they did. You know,
Genius.
I was like, you know what? Since I'm already here, let me just get you the board. I'll get it going. And it took me a while, but I had to figure out that whole wiring mess.
The the state of the trade is demoralizing sometimes.
Yeah,
Some of the stuff you go and see, and it's like, what the hell are we doing?
I try to defend the trade, when I can, and then somebody brings up something, or I've seen, crazy things too, and I'm like, well, that one, I don't know what to tell you about that one.
It's amazing some of the stuff you see out there.
Yeah. So how did you get into the trade yourself? Like, what age did you start?
I was 18, 19 years old, fresh out of high school. The trade was booming back then, and we're talking '03, '04 ish.
Okay.
They hired me and a friend of mine. I went to high school with, right off the street, and I was doing grunt work, commercial install, just lugging duct work upstairs and doing all the grunt work.
Gotcha. So were you like on the install side? Have you done the install side and
I did the install side for a few years, commercial wise, and then I did some residential install and did just like rough
okay.
ends. I did that for a few years, a little bit of service with that, not much, and then just kind of fell into this. When I was putting my resume out there because I was looking for something better. And when I got the commercial service, call back to come in and do an interview, I'm thinking, what are y'all thinking? What's wrong with y'all? I don't even know what the hell I'm doing.
Hey, look at you now.
I learned, like I said, trial by fire, man. Learn as you go. It's not all that hard.
Yeah,
If you
and
want the information, it's out there.
yeah, if when a company, lets you learn on the job, that's great, but they have to see something in you too. You have to put in the work. You have to learn this stuff even after work, right? Like when I didn't know something, I was like, I'm gonna go look it up because like I don't want to be there again, not knowing this stuff or getting stumped. So I always tried to look up manuals, anything I could find. Like I feel like nowadays there's no excuse, but like back then, because I started around '07, like it still wasn't that great. It wasn't that easy to find manuals. Internet wasn't what it was today. There was no YouTube or anything like that. So uh, definitely no excuse today. But if you can, learn after work, read those manuals. That's the easiest way. But like most of the information is going to be in those manuals. They even have troubleshooting tips. It's all there.
And be willing to call and ask the question. That's the one good thing that I think a lot of people out there, especially young guys in the trade, are missing is a support staff to call and say, I don't know what is going on. I need help. And somebody to answer the phone and help walk you through something. I mean, we've always had a good support staff here, and I've called our old guys for years. And, even on little things, after I started wrapping my brain around a lot of this, what solder do I use with a steel to copper connection or brass to copper or whatever? And you've got to be willing to admit you don't know and either go find the information or call somebody and ask. But like you said, now it's all at your fingertips. It's amazing what you can do with your phone.
And then yeah, and then even being online, like if you guys are on YouTube, on Instagram, you can reach out to any of the guys that are posting because I get a lot of questions, I get a lot of messages. I myself, I messaged you about a VFD compressor that I've never seen.
Yeah.
I messaged you and I messaged Rick too, and I think
Yeah,
Brett.
watch the video.
Yeah, well, that one I was like, F it, I'm gonna start blowing fuses. I'll figure it out. But I had never seen, that before, so I was just like trying to get or at least talk it through with people because that's another thing. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody,
Yeah.
and you kind of like realize what you're saying out loud, and then it clicks, and that happens to me a lot.
I mean, it helps to have smart people to call. My guy Jason in the chat here, I've talked to him about a few things, and he's called me. I've called him about some things. But it's nice to have. I've always had a support staff, and we've got some smart guys that work for us that I do call and ask questions to. But the older guys have now retired, so my guy that I used to call all the time retired this past year, and it's like, man. So I'm kind of trying to follow in his footsteps and help everybody and kind of do what he did. But dude was smart, man.
So now you're the guy.
Something like that. I try to be. I tell him the same thing. Go Google it. I mean, that's what I do. And I don't know something, I go research it. If I got somebody smart to call, I call them and ask. Everybody's got a question. You're not going to have all the answers.
No, and what's up, Jason? He's here in the chat. I actually have a video that I'm going to post, I think tomorrow, and I was holding on to it just because I had other stuff to post, but also like it's one of those where I didn't know something that was kind of simple, and I called tech support, and then I finally got a call back, and it's just mostly me. I recorded the conversation. It's just me trying to talk out loud because I already kind of knew the problem. I just wasn't sure of myself. And I was like, I don't know if I should post this, but I'm like, yeah, I put it together. I'll post it up tomorrow.
We need more real stuff like that. I mean, I've done some of it. There's some other guys out there that have done some of it, but we don't always have the answers either. And we need more of that and not have to worry about the trolls on YouTube. Just put it out there, man.
Yeah, well, I decided to put it together. I'll have it up tomorrow, but it's funny because I've heard other people talk about that now, and it's like sometimes you just need to talk out loud. Now, I had a couple of people that I could call when I started, and I'm thankful for them. I don't think one of them doesn't do it anymore, and the other guy works for now like a competitor, so don't call him too often, but I have their numbers if I need them. And sometimes they wouldn't, it's hard to do it over the phone too when you talk to somebody, because I've had to do it myself. And then like, when I talk to them, sometimes they're like, oh, I don't know, did you check this? And I'm like, yeah, I already did all that. But then like the more you talk, it's like, oh, I missed this, or oh, this clicked. So it's good to have those people that you can talk to, but it's super easy now because I've talked to, like I said, you guys. I've hit up Chris Stevens, Ty Brenneman, and they answer me super quick, and they're like, they give me some straight knowledge because those guys are super smart too.
Yeah, smart dudes, man.
Oh, we got Francisco in here. He said just don't do it in front of the customer, like when you're looking up your little YouTube videos when you need to look up that
I
information.
mean, sometimes that's what you got to do, man. When I was learning about Steam, I didn't know anything about it. It's actually pretty simple, but I went home that night and I I bought The Art of Steam Heating by Dan Houlihan, and it came the next day, and I started reading it. But I was looking up on he does a lot of lectures and stuff, and he's a great storyteller, great speaker, and he's got some interesting stories, and I learned a lot.
Oh yeah. So yeah, because even when I see equipment that I've never worked on, because like I said, I was always in kitchen refrigeration. So in the beginning, I saw a lot of like small equipment, like these little prep coolers, the True prep coolers. I worked on a lot of True actually, upright reaching coolers and freezers. So I got used to that kind of stuff. And then once we started branching out, I was like, oh shit, I got ice cream machines, all sorts of ice machines. Hoshizaki ice machines kind of scared the crap out of me when I first saw them. And so after a while, I just kind of I got over the whole pride thing, and I was like, you know what? I've never seen this before. I would tell the customer, let me look up the manual quick, and I'll get back to you. I mean, there's nothing else I could do, right? And
Yeah,
you
I
know,
mean,
give
sometimes you
me
need a
time.
manual and a wire diagram.
I was like, let me just read up real quick. I'm just gonna see how it works, and then we'll get it going. So, you know, honesty is always good too, and I'm trying to be honest with my customer as much as I can. Whether that's I need to get the manual, I need to get this or that. Just be honest. They appreciate that way more.
Yeah,
If you're
there's
if
there's
you're
nothing there's nothing
honest,
wrong with saying I don't know.
yeah. If you're honest, you tell them or you keep them updated on what you're doing or anything like that. Because I've had those long days where like a unit just literally kicks my ass because I don't know what's going on with it. And I've worked on really big equipment. When we used to do like the school districts, I was like, damn, I've never seen walk-ins, this big, these many evaporators and stuff. And I was like, I'll figure it out.
Yeah, the walk-ins we've got. I've done a few of those. The big, when you say walk-in, it's I've done some freezers and coolers that they drive forklifts in and stock stuff.
Yeah, because
And
yeah, that's what I've had. Because then like the doors are huge and you got to slide them open. I've never seen that, so it
it's
was all
it's the
new
same
new
it's
to
the
me.
same it's the same concept as the smaller boxes. There ain't
Yeah,
nothing that much there, just bigger stuff.
yeah, we got Alan in here. I'm scared of I'm still scared of ice machines. They're just time consuming. Most of the time, it's water related, but I do get a lot of hot gas valves that fail. Not a lot, but like every now and then, if it's not water related, it's usually the hot gas.
Yeah, Alan's my guy. I've talked to him on Instagram a couple times. I think he's in my area or my general area.
Oh, great to have you in here in the stream, Alan. So you said you got into it like straight out of high school, so you didn't do anything else really before this. You just knew
Uh,
HVAC.
yeah, that's basically all I've known. I had a job at a hospital that I was just doing. I was like transporting patients or something. Getting paid pennies on the hour, and I needed to find a more stable career somewhere where I could move and do something. I wasn't going anywhere there,
Yeah, man,
and it didn't last long.
I had a job before because honestly, I mean, that's another thing that I'm trying to do with this whole like social media stuff is like, and that's why I always encourage more people to post. We need as many people posting, whether that's on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I try to be on all of them and just reach out to everybody. I talk to, groups on TikTok, on Instagram, YouTube. I try to keep in touch with everybody. We just need more content because I didn't know about this. When I got out of high school, I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm gonna do. And most people that I've talked to, especially here on the podcast, it's not ever something that they seek to do on their own. It's like usually their dad does it, their grandfather did it, or it just they fell into it
I
by
fell
accident.
into it like me, just kind of fell into it and got lucky. They're doing a lot more now, at least in my area. They're starting to do more trade schools. So for years it was you got to go to college and you got to go get a degree and blah 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 this and that.
Yeah.
But the trades are so much in demand right now. It's where the money's at. The hell with going to get a degree. I mean, unless you got a plan, the trade's where it's at, man. You can go to any trade and make good money, life changing money in time.
Yeah, in time is important because that's what I want to tell or emphasize on because I get asked that a lot when people ask me about the money. I'm like, it's there, but it's not gonna be there waiting for you right when you get in the door. Because I was gonna say on your little note there that I was gonna say or you could work at McDonald's, right, and get that easy, what I don't know what it is now, 16 $17 an hour.
It's a lot
You
more
can
than
go
it used to be.
you can go there and just get your quick cash grab at the beginning and flip burgers or whatever it is. Nothing against that, but that's just not something I would want to do. And then
Well, and
or
you're not going to double that pay in
yeah,
5 years.
yeah, because I think the other popular thing now is that they're saying, all these delivery drivers are getting these massive pay bumps too, or they're making a whole bunch of money too. But it's like, like, what do you really want to do? Because I like what I do. Like I said, I didn't know about it. Even with my dad in the trades, because he was an electrician, and then he got into the food service because somebody offered him an opportunity, and he didn't know anything about fryers, cooking equipment. But he's like, no, I'll take that opportunity. He did like so much training because they offered it to him. So he was, as soon as he got the job, he was on planes all the time because he had to. I guess back then you had to travel to go to these trainings and stuff. So he took advantage, and he became like one of the best at his company. He won an award there and everything, Tech of the Year. Um, he was like the guy there. So then he started his company, and I just never thought about it. Honestly, he didn't push it on us or anything, but I didn't
There's a
know what I wanted. I didn't know what I wanted to be, and now that I'm in it, I love it. Right? It's
yeah,
rewarding. You get to work with your hands. You get to think on your feet. You know, problem after problem you get to solve. Like it's something that I love to do, like every day of the week.
yeah, no, and they're doing a lot of more trade schools and stuff like that. They're not pushing the college as much as they used to my generation. So I've got a nephew in that's actually doing welding, and he does welding 2 times a week as a senior in high school.
Yeah,
And I mean that's giving him something to lean on. Welders make good money, and all the trades
yeah,
are booming right now, man.
yeah. Like welding is something that was offered, I think, at my high school too, and I've heard that they're starting to offer, or I don't know if it's been around. I just never heard about it, but they're starting to offer, like, if you want to get into the trades, in high school they can give you that little head start to get you into it. So I'm glad that it's becoming more readily available because, like I said, I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do, and I've always loved, growing up, like fixing stuff. Like that's always been my thing, like taking things apart, playing outside. This I feel like this was meant for me, so I'm really happy with it now. Back to my point about the money. Whenever people ask me, I'm like, you're gonna start at the bottom, right? You're a helper, apprentice, whatever it may be. You need that experience. So You're gonna have to tough it out. If that company doesn't give you a raise, you got the experience. You can move on if you need to. It's just you're not gonna get it like as you start, even if you're out of school. Like they're gonna consider you a helper, a new guy. They got to train you.
Yeah, unfortunately, with service work, I mean, you have to have that experience. You can read it in a book all day, but being out there in the real world, figuring stuff out, I mean, it's not an easy job in the heat,
Yeah,
dealing with customers. It's pressure. You're standing in front of a customer trying to figure something out. They want to know, hey, well, I need it working now, and some of them are standing over your shoulder waiting for you to make it work.
yeah. Don't get me started on that. I don't mind if they watch, I guess, but let me work. Don't be asking me every 5 minutes. Is it gonna work now? Is it gonna work now?
Yeah, I don't. I just bring them along. I'll start telling them everything. I give them too much information, and then they'll either want to know more or they'll back off and be like, "God, this guy won't shut up. I
Yeah,
don't
like
care.
what?
I don't
Like
care how it works. Just make it work.
yeah,
Leave me alone,
and
man."
I love talking about it too. Like I've had to kind of balance it because I feel like sometimes I say too much, sometimes I
Yeah,
don't say enough.
yeah.
But I've
Usually, if I'm into a piece of equipment and and they're with me, I'll just start telling them how it works. This is
yeah,
what we should have here. This is what should be happening. This isn't happening. So let's check this. It's kind of like I would in a video. Same
yeah. It's
idea.
like if you're gonna be watching over my shoulder, why don't you just come along with me? I've done that too because before like I would tell them you know something that we found on the rooftop, and then like they kind of questioned me, and I'm like, well, do you want to come up to the roof? I think only like in all the years I've done it, only like two or three have really gone up on the roof with me. The rest of them are like, no, we're good.
I believe you.
Yeah, I offer. I mean, I always offer. I'm like, if you want to kind of double check my work, come up with me.
Oh, ever since I started doing this stuff, I've gotten better at talking about it when I'm looking at it. So I'm I'm willing to teach you. You want to stand next to me? Let's go. I'll tell you how it works.
Yeah, total tech. I've dropped a ton of thermometers in Pitco's. My I've never done. I don't think I've ever done that, but I've had guys. My dad being one of them. Countless tools have gone in the fryer, and I had a guy who dropped like two of his phones in there too. So you got to be careful when you're working around that stuff.
Wow, you got to be careful everywhere. We take care of a place that they got they do oil processing, and it's these vats are probably 20 feet around and 20 feet tall, full of oil, hot oil that they cool down with chillers. And if you're working over top of that thing, man, you better have all your tools in hand because if it goes in, you ain't getting it back.
Yeah, you got to be careful. Also, just in general, because I'm always afraid of dropping a screw in food in ice machines. So I'm like,
Yeah,
you know, and I always tell anybody who's with me if I'm, kind of teaching them or anything, please, do not drop anything or be conscious of what you're doing around. Because I only do kitchen refrigeration. So I'm around food all the time. So I'm like, please, be careful, be considerate. And when you're in the kitchen, for the cooks, for the people that are like the customers. So you got to think about those things too.
yeah. Those are the worst ones. The rush hour and hey, we need you to look at this reach in. Like I'm not going to do much with this reach in right now, man. I don't know what you want me to do.
I try.
Standing under the fryer. I mean, you can try. You can do a little bit, try to get it going if it's not, working at all. But
Yeah, like we used to do a lot of that kind of work. It's calmed down recently, but like if these places we had before were like 24/7, they were open 24/7. So they would call us and they would get busy at all different times of the day. And I've told people the only thing is when you do this kind of work, like what I do, like now we can schedule it. Now we can kind of like be like, okay, we'll come in maybe in the morning before you open or something like that because we don't deal with 24/7 spots anymore. But uh, you got to be comfortable being on the floor, rolling around, getting in grease, or being stepped over and stepped, around because sometimes you got to work during that lunch or rush hour, whatever it is. At least to look at it, because then I'll be like, you know what? If I can't finish, or they're too busy, I'll come back in the morning or whatever. But uh, a lot of times they want it fixed like right then.
That's the nature of the beast, man. When it's down, they want it to work.
Yeah, you just got to
You,
get you got to get
that kitchen
comfortable.
reefer, yeah, that kitchen reefer stuff you can have, man. I'm glad we don't do nearly as much of it. I don't mind their
Late,
walk-ins, but those reach-ins I can do without.
yeah, lately they've done a lot of remodeling and they've ended up just buying. Even at the hospital we do, they ended up buying all new equipment because like honestly, those things were going down left and right. Like they abused the crap out of them.
Yeah,
So they were like, it's about time we get some new ones. So I haven't had too many, go down. So lately I've been doing a lot of rooftop work, which is, kind of nice. You're out there by yourself. Don't have to worry about, being around everybody in the kitchen. And that's kind of the thing that I like about commercial because some people, and I've had like different guests that do residential and they love it because they love being around the homeowners, talking all day. I'm like, that's cool. I get that in the kitchen too. I get to talk to the cooks and stuff, but I like to be on the roof too, be by myself, kind of have like a clear mind to think about, the problem that I'm working on. So I like a little balance, but I like the rooftop work a little bit more.
yeah, it's nice to just us service techs are lonely souls, man. It's nice to have it just quiet every once in a while. Just
That
a rooftop and a unit and your brain thinking, trying to figure out what's going on with it.
yeah, like I said, I like that a little bit more.
I like a little bit of both too, but it is nice. A mechanical room with some earplugs in sometimes. I had a post about that a long time ago. I was putting a pump in penthouse mechanical room by itself. There's only one stairwell one way out. Nobody around for miles, just me and a pump.
Yeah.
That can be relaxing.
All right, let me look at the chat. Mario, working after they close is nice. Yeah, I've done a few of those. Like I said, if we can, if it's something major, and like a lot of the places, like I said, we're kind of picky now. Not too picky, but like we can turn away work if we just don't want it. Some of these places they think that you're desperate for work sometimes, and they'll try and take advantage. I'm like, no, that's the price. It is what it is, or whatever. But I feel like we're kind of spoiled right now because a lot of the customers we have, and two of them are big fast food chains. They don't open till like 10:30. So like I could get in there 8 or 9 and be done well before they open. So I'm pretty spoiled on that front. And we used to do the overnight calls as well because sometimes it's just not possible to do it during the day. So it is nice when they're not busy.
Yeah, I mean the calls that can wait. We do a lot of office buildings and stuff like that, which they're leaving at 5 o'clock, so you don't get late calls in the middle of the night. I'm with you,
Yeah.
Jason.
Yeah, and like the only time it's really like an emergency if it's like a walk-in freezer, something with the freezers, or if you guys do supermarkets, stuff like that. But I just do fast food. They can usually wait till the next day, or I can do it early in the morning.
Yeah, I try to.
Yeah.
We don't do any supermarket stuff. Like I said, I try to stay away from all that. I'll take the big IntelliPacks, like Jason said, and a chiller or whatever it may be. I'll take that over the other stuff any day. It's got
Yeah,
its
Jason.
own. It's got its own, bad parts too. But
Oh yeah.
take the good with the bad.
J- Jason likes working on the Italy packs there. Let's see. Do the cooks ever feed you? I just say no. I like when I was younger, when I started, yeah, I was like, yeah, awesome, free lunch, right? I got so sick of it. And then like once you've been in enough kitchens, like they try to be, some of them try really hard, right? But like they're never gonna be the cleanest of the clean, right?
So
But
you see some of these kitchens and you won't. You don't
no,
want to
no,
eat the food
no,
no more.
thanks.
I'm team no ice. I don't want your ice.
I was gonna
If I
say,
eat,
don't even get me. Don't even get me started on the ice, dude. We got places that don't want to do maintenance on them until they're like really disgusting, and then there's places that like I don't put these units in. Like we don't do a lot of the construction or new installs, because they get these buildings built. Somebody else does them. They take care of them. But then like they know to call us for the service. A lot of these don't even put filters in their ice machines either, and I'm trying to get them like, well, you need a filter. You need a system here to filter your ice, but some of them don't even do that. So don't even
Uh,
get me started on the ice part.
they'll plug the feed valve pretty quick. At least around here, we got hard water, so you've got to have some kind of filter. The valves will start acting up on you.
I don't know. They've gotten away with it. So there's a bunch where I'm always writing up filters. I'm like if you just approve it, I'll come in and put filters on all your equipment. But it's commercial. I got to get approval.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's people don't understand the how bad water can get. I mean, it's especially. I mean, you're talking about water feeding an ice machine, but some of these places that have water cooled equipment, they don't treat the water, and then they find
No.
out the hard way that things start to plug up, and they get all kinds of crap. And I pulled some crazy stuff out of strainers, and finally some water treatment guys came out and flushed a large system that I had, and it was amazing what came out of it.
Yeah, I've had those too, where I just like I go there and I'm like, and stuff will break down because they're not filtered like quicker. They'll go down quicker. But I've been there and I'm like, just bring the manager over because I want to show them, all the stuff that we take out of those ice machines, whether it's cleaning them or getting those, all that scale out or whatever it is. Like those things get
There's
built up
calcium
with a
in
lot of
water,
stuff.
man. We got a lot
Yeah,
of steam humidifiers around here, and I mean, if they don't change the canisters, it'll be rocks. Literally, I mean, I'm in Kentucky. There's limestone everywhere, and this canisters just turn into basically concrete in the bottom of them, and they'll eat away the electrodes and everything else.
yeah, it gets pretty bad. Oh, we have Jeff's HVAC adventures. Worst part is the cooks dropping food on you. I think I've had that happen a couple times.
At
Let's
that point,
see.
I've usually already looked at it and been like, yeah, I can come back, or you can roll that thing in the back, and I'll fix it. I ain't
Yeah,
working
that's
underneath of you.
that's that's nice too when you can actually take the equipment out. And I'll tell them like I'll do whatever it takes. I was like, if I can get that equipment in the back, we can roll it back there.
Usually, they
I'll
don't mind helping you too,
yeah. I was like,
because you're just in their way.
I'll clear a path. One guy helps me roll it out. I'm good. I'll work on it in the back, and I'll get it done quicker.
Oh, no doubt. And you're not in their way. Man, it's good for everybody.
Yeah, I'm gonna go through the chat in a minute, but let me pull up some questions that I had from Instagram.
Sweet.
So, do you like, or I guess he's asking, it's Vegas AC dude. What do you like more, residential, refrigeration, or commercial HVAC?
Commercial HVAC, hands down, no question.
I figured and I see that's what you work on. That's probably what you're most comfortable on too, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the residential's not bad. I don't mind. I mean, I haven't really done a whole lot of residential service work, but I've seen stuff, and it's not the same. It's not as complex, and it's not as challenging sometimes as some of the larger commercial stuff.
So you like the challenge of figuring out some of the bigger equipment.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the best part about it, man. And make your brain think, and make yourself work through a problem that you don't exactly know what's going on. You don't exactly always know how the damn thing works, but
Yeah,
being able to go through and figure out what's not happening and what's supposed to happen is, and at the end of the day, it's fulfilling when you can fix it, and it's like, there you go.
exactly. And he's asking me as well, I'm gonna say I like commercial refrigeration more, but it goes down to like what you prefer, but also what you're comfortable with. I am super comfortable with walk-in boxes, reach-in coolers, freezers, ice machines, So that's the kind of stuff that I like to work on. Plus, I don't have to be in the on the roof in the Texas heat,
Yeah.
too much if I'm working inside. So that's what I prefer. And we had Brian. I think this is Brian, 304 HVAC. What part of the job do you find the most challenging?
The the constant, we've kind of talked about it already, the constant changing of the piece of equipment I'm looking at
Yeah.
and the customer I'm looking at. The customers were the hardest thing to figure out for me because I'm not always a people person. I'm still not always a people person, and I can be brash with people sometimes. But learning that there's a fine line between what you say, what you don't say, but just understanding the customer and trying to understand the piece of equipment. You got to try to do what's best for everybody.
Yeah, it's that part for me too, like the whole customer relationship, and then the evolution of the equipment, like you said, that stuff changes pretty often. You have to keep up to date with that stuff. And that's another thing. You know how we were talking about the VFDs and the for the carrier and all that? We've had issues personally with like anytime they stick a whole bunch of technology in a walk-in freezer. And I got to explain to the customer like, well, you know what? This board gave out or these relays gave out on this board, and that kind of controls the whole thing. I can't bypass anything. I can't replace anything. It's not mechanical like like I'm used to, like where I can just pop in a new solenoid coil, whatever it is. I'm like, no, it's a relay. So once we get the board, we'll get you going. There's nothing I can really do. So that's the hard part too. Is like everything's going digital. There's new technology all the time, and then you
It
got to
is a
explain that to the customer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they understand some of that. And it is a hard transition. It's probably been easier for me because I've worked on a lot of drives and stuff. So even when you sent me that drive, I'm like, I've never seen one on a train rooftop like that. But
Yeah, I was like, what the hell?
I know generally how the drive works. I mean, it gets an input and it tells it what speed to run the compressor. Basically, it's all about inputs and outputs. I think you got an AC input of your 463 phase, and then it's a DC output, which is based on whatever your controlling signal is. It might be 0 to 5 volts, 0 to 10 volts, 4 to 20 milliamp, whatever it is. It's coming from a controller or a sensor, and that's telling the speed to change.
And that's the thing where you have to just know the equipment, because like I had never seen that before, and I was like, I'll be damned if I don't get this thing figured out at least, right? And so when somebody tells me that it's an easy job or it's not rocket science, I'm like, okay, but you need to know the equipment, because yeah, this one had a, I don't know what you call them, the train interface, the little touch screen.
TDI thing, the
Yeah, so
interface. Yeah, I've got one of
so
those.
it was trying to tell me that the VFD was bad. And I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I'm trying to check further along, finally figured out it was a compressor that was popping everything. So, I had to kind of disregard that and continue on with my troubleshooting to figure it out. Got the new compressor in and we're good to go. The VFD is good. Everything else is good. So
The
you still have to,
drives will save you a lot of times, and I mean those controls are only so smart because it's
yeah.
seeing something happening or not happening, and it's making a logical decision, but it's not always the case. And a lot of times those drives will sense a problem with the motor, and they'll send you an alarm signal and turn it off before you blow something up, basically.
Yeah, is that the one you're talking about? PD.
TD5, something, I think that's it.
I don't know, Jason. It was trying to tell me what to look at, and I'm like,
It's the big black box. It's I'm pretty sure it's a TD5.
yeah, I was like I was like, it's not the drive. I'm pretty sure it's not that. But yeah, we got it going. And that's one of those things. I've never seen one, and I was like, "What the hell is this compressor?" Like it threw me off for a second, but I'm like, they all do the same thing. Let's just figure it out.
Yeah, it's the same three-phase motor. I mean, uh, if it ohms out okay, it ought to run. And if it doesn't ohm out okay, you got an issue there. So
It sounded really weird. It tried to start and it would like rev up and then like just quit. Or I think the VFD was kicking it out, or the controller,
yeah,
whatever. It was
it
like
was
a
sense
safety.
it was probably sensing your ground faults and
Yeah.
on the output and saying, hey, something's wrong
Yeah, because then I bypassed that thing and then boom, the breaker.
here.
I was like, I think I'm onto something here.
There you go. I found it. I found the problem. Sometimes you got to kick a breaker or blow a few fuses.
Yeah, just don't keep blowing the same fuse. Like,
Yeah.
because I finally got myself like a popper to kind of like, fight that, where I'm like popping fuses all the time. But, sometimes you got to do it.
Yeah, those little poppers are awesome.
Oh, Mario here is asking if you plan on going out on your own anytime in the future.
I have not. I mean, I'm compensated well. They take care of me here. I got good benefits. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, obviously, you're killing it. There's a lot of guys out there that are. I got the guy that I started with, out of high school in a trade. He runs his own business now, and he's doing great. But I don't want all the extra headache. I got enough headache as it is.
I kind of fell into it too. So it's like, I got to take on that headache. But that's what I was trying to tell people too, because like there's a lot of guys that say, I want to be there one day, or that's a goal, but that's not for everybody, and that's okay. And that's kind of something that I had to learn when I was in school, because I had several teachers, right? We had a class for each different subject, whether it was electricity, commercial side, residential side, duct work. I even had an industrial class. So we had a different teacher for each one. Half of them ran a business, the other half did not. They worked somewhere. And I had to learn that some people I thought the same thing. I thought everybody's end goal was to run their own business, but it's not. And I had to learn that from those guys, because they had been somewhere for so long, then they're making good money, they're getting taken care of, and that's okay. Like, if that's what you want, that's what you want. Now, running a business, it's very rewarding, but it's a pain in the ass, I'll tell you that straight up.
It's a lot of work, and I
And if
mean
you
it works out for people, but it's
and,
it's a lot. It's a lot extra than that I'm doing now.
yeah, and if you don't, and that's another thing, if you don't have work, you're kind of screwed. You're stressing out about finding the next job and stuff
Yep.
like that. And we've been there. We've had our ups and downs. Like, it's not always smooth sailing or anything like that. And then you got to worry about your employees, paying your employees. So
I
there's,
think a
there's
lot
a
of it too comes from, I mean, some of the guys that I've talked to from other companies and everything else. Some of these companies are crap, and they're treating them like crap. They're paying them like crap, and they expect so much from them. And it's like, well, those are the guys that are just fed up with it. There are good companies out there too that are taking care of guys and doing things the right way. So uh, some of it's about falling in the right place too.
yeah, well, just in general, I think we have to be better, as like owners and people that run these businesses. Like, if you're going to run your techs into the ground and not compensate them well, or treat them well, of course they're not going to stay around, or they're not even going to stay in the trade because they had a bad experience. So, you got to think about all that stuff too. And hopefully you guys, because I get a lot of guys that hit me up that they are in school, they're looking for looking for a job, or they're getting into the trade, and I just hope that they find like a good company, because like, that's everything. If you get a good experience or a bad experience, and then you might not want to be in the trade anymore.
Well, and true, there's truth to that, and there's a lot of companies out there. So if you're not being treated right, or you're not happy with what you're doing, learn as much as you can from everybody. There's
Yeah.
there's knowledge to be had in everything. no matter whether it's bad company, good company. Like I said, we learn more from failure than we do success. So learn what you can and then move on. There's companies out there. The trade's booming and needs young people right now.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If like you said, whether the company's good or bad, that's the same thing I tell people. I'm like, take advantage of whatever you learn there. Like if you're there for a year, take advantage, learn from who you can, or just be aware of what they're doing as well, right? How do they do their service calls, their routes, their maintenance? Like pay attention to every little detail. That way you can kind of take that with you. And then even if you are at a place for a long time, maybe you're not happy there and you want to go on your own, just get an idea of how they run a business too. Like you know, take advantage and kind of look at everything and just learn as much as you can.
Yeah, I would say you need a lot of knowledge to go start your own business. I mean, or even you, like, I mean, you running the business. That's more knowledge than I have to, I can work on stuff all day long, but then you got, payroll and all this other stuff that some people don't think about, the overhead, you got to pay for insurance and the trucks and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother world that you've got to be prepared for.
Yeah, that's something that I always have to, even though like it's technically my dad's company, but we kind of split it because he does the hot side, I do the refrigeration. And I got to be in those shoes too. I got to think about all this stuff. Like, what are we spending? What's our, like our overhead? Uh, the guys, they need their insurance. They need their vehicles. They need their vehicle insurance. They need their wraps. They need their tools, their equipment, like all this stuff. So it's a lot. So like I tell guys, if you plan on doing it and going on your own, make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Have all that into consideration. Just even getting a license. When I get my contractor's license, I had to have my insurance and everything lined up for that too. Like there's money going out everywhere. And then you got to make sure you got that money coming in. So
Gotta have the money coming in. That's the biggest thing. You gotta make more than
okay,
you spend.
so well, we had that issue like really bad when we had way too many employees. We were spending way too much, and then we weren't, I guess, supervising them enough. We tried to, but we weren't still doing it enough uh, to where like they kept buying like way too many parts. I like when we let them go, we went in their van. I honestly could do like another month or two of work just by the parts that they had stocked up in their van, just because like it's a mess in there, and they just like, oh, I don't have this, or they think they don't have it, and they go buy another one, and then like, because we had an account, like at our Johnstone and stuff, and man, that thing went crazy high, and I was like, dude, we gotta figure something out because we make more money now since we downsized versus having a whole bunch of guys, and you gotta find that balance, and you gotta think about all that stuff if you guys do run a business or plan to open one up.
Yeah, no doubt.
That was a huge headache we had. So that brings me to my next question. Someone was asking me, I'm not even sure what his username is, but I'll message him. 31 years old too late to get into HVAC? And is it a good future?
Absolutely not. It's not too old. 31's pretty
That's pretty
damn
young.
young. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got an influx of young guys, 19 to 25 that are coming in because a lot of the high schools are pushing them towards trades now. And I don't think it's too old. You can learn so much, like we've talked about. Go find the information. You've already got a little bit of life knowledge there. Go figure it out. If you enjoy the trade, you can learn a lot, and you're needed. Trust me. We need good guys.
And everybody's different. That person might be better suited to start now versus starting young, because like
Yep.
I took a year off after high school, and then I got into like what my dad was doing as a helper. I was not interested whatsoever. I was just like let me collect a paycheck, you know. And it took me a while to kind of mature on that side to actually want to do this and run a business and be like where I'm at now. So some people, like I've had the HVAC visionaries on here. Those guys are all under 25 and they're like super like into it. Like they love it. They are trying to do their best and honestly doing a really good job of leveling up everybody and showing up everybody. But I'm like, you know, I'm not afraid to admit that I was not like that at that age. I was like, you know, it's a job, you know, whatever. I just want to get out, go with my friends, you know, go do other stuff. But
I'm,
at 31, maybe you're better off because you're a little older.
yeah,
And another thing with me is I was not very good, I guess, with tools when I started either. That was one of the complaints that I got from one of the guys when they reported back to my dad was like, well, he's not very mechanically inclined and he has to work on that or this and that. So I was like, all right. So I kind of took that as motivation, but I was like, well, I wasn't good with tools when I started either. So
yeah. I
everybody's
mean,
different.
yeah, you got to learn as you go. As long as you're willing to learn and you're out there trying. Like I said, as long as you're asking the questions, just don't screw something up and not ask the question. If there's nobody that will answer your question, you can reach out to a lot of guys. Somebody will answer your question. But if there's nobody at your company that can answer a question for you or will answer a phone call and help you, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah. You when you start, you kind of really need that. Because you're going to be asking a lot of questions. So you need somebody who can answer those questions.
Yeah, no doubt. We've actually got a couple. We've got an older guy that he was doing apartment maintenance for a while, and he's probably in his 60s, and he's sharp as a tack, and he wants to learn. So he takes all the knowledge in, and he'll call and ask the questions. And I mean, he started. I think he was doing a little bit of HVAC stuff, but not a whole lot. And so he started with us. I don't know. He's been around for a couple of years now, and he's awesome.
Yeah, and that reminds me, I've had people that message me and they're way older than 31 and they are getting into the trade because they see it as like a good future, a good I guess investment on themselves. And it really is. I mean, you have to stick around for more than a year or two, you know, to kind of get that, but it is a good future. And I always tell people like, I mean, it goes for everything. Like there's so many levels to this because you can take so many avenues and
So many
different
different
career
facets to the
choices.
trade.
Yeah, and as at least for me, the way I think about it when I started, I was like, well, restaurants are never going to go out of business, right? That's what we do. Hospital work, hospitals never go out of business, and everybody needs their product refrigerated or they need the AC, right? So that's never going to go out of that's I guess go out of style or whatever. Like we're always going to need that, and it's becoming more of a necessity with the whole climate, the way the climate is. Like when we had that freeze, there was people that were like freezing to death. You know, if they don't have their ACs, uh, it gets hot. It gets like over 110 here, over 115. Jason knows what I'm talking about. I think he beat me. He said it was 117 where he was at, and those houses are gonna get crazy hot if their AC is not working. So, some people say it's like a luxury, but I feel like it's becoming more of a necessity, more than anything, and it's always gonna be in demand.
It's always in demand. I mean, they say it is a luxury for residential, but when you're talking an IT room, that's got to be cool. Uh, it doesn't matter what temperature it is outside or what's going on around you. I mean, I've worked in some data centers before that are just Liebert
Oh
units
yeah,
all over the place, and those are critical units. If they go down, you got to be there right away as soon as possible and get it fixed.
yeah, man. Like with hospital work, like we don't do it as much anymore, but we used to get the whole hospital. So where they keep their medicines or blood, all these chemicals and biohazard stuff, like that stuff can't go down. So they're gonna need that, and then supermarkets, right? They're not gonna lose that crazy amount of money that they have in those freezers and different things. So they're gonna want somebody to fix it right away. So any way you look at it, you can find a job in so many different places. So
Oh yeah,
it,
I always
it,
tell
it
people you get
it's
paid
out there.
for how much you can work on. I mean, if you can go out there and work
That's
on anything, you're worth a lot of money to a lot of people.
so yeah. Take advantage if your company or whoever you're with does like more than one thing. Like try to take up some of the other stuff. Like learn a few different things, ask questions like crazy, and uh, and you'll be fine. Because like I said, there's so many different ways you can go about HVAC. Now, if somebody tells me, because I've had people tell me in my area, honestly, I don't know. There's companies out here that I know that are good. A lot of the other ones, they kind of just rotate. I see a lot of new ones, and then like they don't make it or something like that. If you say you can't find a job, I understand it might not be the job you want, right? You're gonna find a job if you're in HVAC. It might not be the one that you want right away, but you'll get there. It's a trade that we need, and we need good techs.
Yeah, no doubt.
There's not enough good techs. Mario here. We
There's
got Mario. We replace the filters with the maintenance. Let me tell you, we don't because our customers like to say that they do. And I had one tell me straight to my face that because I get called out a lot, and it's for this one company. It's always a dirty condenser or a dirty filter, like every time. And they have some of them have rooftop units, some of them have residential, but they do the filters inside, right? They have to get on the ladder, change the one in the ceiling, and that's how they do their filters. I had one person tell me straight to my face, "Oh yeah, like because I was like, you need to change your filter. It's like plugged up, like it was already getting sucked up into the vent, and uh, and they even put it backwards. So like the little because on the pleated filter, they got that little wire. They had it backwards, so it like literally sucked it up. And they were like, yeah, we don't have a filter right now. It's because we change them every Thursday or something like that. And then it took me a second. I'm like, dude, we're Friday. You just changed this yesterday. I was like, that thing's been there for months.
yeah,
So change it. You'll be good.
yeah. You gotta change the damn filters, man. It's one of those things. We do some larger plants and stuff like that. We actually sub the filter changes out. We'll have somebody else come in and change the filters, and we'll go do the coil cleanings and stuff like that. There's companies out there that'll do the coil cleanings too.
Oh yeah.
The ones that I've had them that I've been back on, we don't sub out our coil cleanings, but the ones that I've been back on and they have people doing it, they're not. I don't think they're doing it right. I don't necessarily think they know what they're doing. At least sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, even that coil cleaning, it's not as easy as it looks either. And
It is on some, but some of them, you got to know how to split them or how to get into them to clean them. There's some out there that they don't think about the service techs having to clean the damn things because they are a pain in the ass.
yeah, I hate doing those. Once we get them on like a maintenance agreement, we've been there enough times. It gets easier, but that first time, it's like you're splitting them. You're taking apart the whole thing just to get to it, and they're filthy. And
Yeah,
rinsing it is good if you're trying to manage your own equipment, right? If you at your house, you can get away with just rinsing it, your condenser, but a good cleaning is really needed on most of these. Like around here, we have a lot of construction, so like that air is dirty like all the time. So that I can already tell which ones are going to be like super dirty because our highway is getting redone. There's a lot of houses and apartments going up, and anytime I have a customer that's like right next to it, I'm like, all right, your condenser's plugged up. I already know. Let's take it apart and clean it up.
and I usually try to warn them about that too. If I see the construction across the street or whatever, I'll say, look, it's early in the year, it's March or whatever it is, and we're cleaning these coals. We're going to have to keep an eye on these.
Yeah.
They might, by the end of the season, they might have to be cleaned again. We get a lot of cottonwood first, springtime. We get cottonwood flying around and it gets into everything. And then you got the whole thing when you're talking the industrial plants and stuff, they're just dirty anyways. So there's dust and grease and dirt flying around everywhere.
Yeah, like I said, we have so much going on right now. I always tell them you're gonna probably need it a little sooner than usual. You know, you got all that like dirt flying around. Let's see. I'm gonna look through the comments real quick before we get off. I know we've been on for an hour and a half. I appreciate you for sticking around.
I appreciate you for having me and everybody for sticking around in the chat. There's still a few of them out there.
Yeah, man. I wanted to have. I think I've told you before. I wanted to have you on, and you know we finally made it happen. I've had a blast just talking to you here. Are you gonna go to the AHR?
Still undecided. I'd love to, and it's
Okay.
so close to me. It's going to be hard for me not to. I wanted to last year, and then I had a whole knee issue, so I didn't get to go.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I want to be there. Still
Well,
up in the air as of now, but I would love to be there.
well, if you make it by, I'll have to hit you up because I'll be there.
No doubt. I mean, I look forward to meeting. I mean, it's great meeting you here, but I feel like I know half of these guys in the chat and you and everybody else because I see you all the time.
Yeah, I got to meet Rick at the last one, and we were there walking around for a while. It's overwhelming, but it's very fun.
Yeah, I can imagine it's a lot to take in all at once, especially when you include all the people trying to meet the people at the same time.
It's a spot to be, you know.
It sure looks like it, and the tactical wars looks awesome too.
Oh yeah, Ben is doing incredible things with that, and that's another thing, right? To make it appealing to like younger people that see it. They're like, oh, that's a cool event, you know. So I appreciate Ben for putting that together, and I've heard how much of a headache it is to do, but it's fun.
Yeah, I know it's a lot of work for him, but him and a lot of people in the chat on all these platforms are doing good stuff to bring awareness to the trades and bring young people in, and that's what we need.
And like I said, I encourage a lot of people that have thought about posting just to post. The community has been really good lately. Everybody, you know, supports one another. And I was gonna say, like when I started, I remember seeing your channel growing because I don't know how long you had started before me, but I kind of followed you because you were still growing in that beginning phase. And then I started, you know, seeing you comment on my stuff, and that was really cool. Kind of like what you said about Ryan doing that for you.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to do it for others, right? I hang around on YouTube. I see these new guys coming up, and I'm like, you know, giving them little encouragement here and there. And I genuinely like seeing new content from you guys.
Yeah, no, and there's a lot of it out there now. I'll find new guys randomly, you know, all over the place, and it's like that's good stuff. And I'll try to comment something and just, you know,
Yeah.
like you said, just some encouragement or, you know, good job or whatever it is, just so you know we see you.
Yeah, I'm trying to read through the chat. I think that covers everything. I feel like I'm forgetting something, but you know, we'll talk about it next time.
We'll have to do it again.
Exactly. All right, Steve. I should have done this at the beginning, but you guys should know who Steve is. Most of you here in the chat. You can find him on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, right?
Yep.
You're trying to cover all your bases. Everything HVACR. You can find him. Give him a follow. I genuinely love, you know, the content you put out because it's very different from mine. A lot of big equipment, and then like the way you diagnose things and kind of talk, because that's kind of why I started mine or how I did mine is like I kind of talk to myself anyway. So let me just record, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. So Total Tech, Steve is the OG.
Thank you.
I appreciate you yeah, for coming on. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks
I
for having me,
appreciate
man. Thanks to everybody in
I
chat.
yeah, I appreciate everybody for coming through. It was a good one. And I have to stay for the outro. You can stay or you can leave, but let me cue the outro and I'll see you guys.